Hey guys, it's Emily. Welcome everyone! In this video, I'm taking a drive through Florida. No theme parks, some coastal areas, no really touristy areas. I'll be covering a lot of ground. And I'll also pick up one newly visited county as well. There are 67 counties, and I've visited 61 counties so far. Gonna travel hundreds and hundreds of miles on this video. Yep, let's go! Let's take a look at a map of where I'll be going. The pink lines are where I'm going to be going on this video. Some of the lines are shaded red. I'll talk about that in a minute. I enter Florida from the west, and I eventually visit the city of Seaside. Then I head northeast to Wausau. I'll drive all the way to Gainesville in the dark, and the next morning I'll visit an interesting overlook there. Then I'll drive a long way to Tampa to see some interesting roadside attractions. Then to St. Petersburg, or St. Pete for short. Then cross the Sunshine Skyway Bridge to complete my journey. As for the red-shaded areas, those are the last miles of interstate highway in the state of Florida I've yet to travel. After this video, I will have traveled on every mile of interstate highway in the Sunshine State. If you're wondering, there are 1,498 miles of interstate highway in Florida. That's a lot of miles. My first stop on this video is at the corner of Natchez and Grayton Streets in the city of Seaside. This is a very beautiful area in the coastal panhandle of Florida. Look at these beautiful homes along this red brick road. I'm here to see this house, 31 Natchez Street, but it also has the number 36 on it. This house, in the same paint color, was featured in the 1998 film The Truman Show, starring Jim Carrey. The Truman Show is about a man named Truman Burbank. His entire life since he was born was being filmed and broadcast around the world without his knowledge. His whole life experience was being manipulated as well. Have you ever heard of Congressman Matt Gaetz? Probably due to new coverage from the U.S. Speaker vote. He grew up in this house and still owns it. That house was built in 1993. It has 4 bedrooms and 4 baths, and it is worth an estimated $3 million. Seaside is in Bay County, so make that county number 62. Just 5 more to go. My next stop is in the dark. It's also in the city of Wausau. In front of this fire station, I'm going to swing around here. And I know it's in the dark, but I'm here to see this monument. Look at this. There's a guard cat at this monument. I wonder if this kitty belongs to anybody. Maybe I could take it home? Anyway, this monument is to commemorate the North American possum. This monument says the possum is a magnificent survivor of the marsupial family, and it predates the dinosaurs. The possum provided food and fur for the early settlers, and their presence provided a source of nutritious and flavorful food in normal times, and an important aid to human survival in times of distress and critical need. Also, the first Saturday in August is designated Possum Day in the state of Florida. If that isn't a glowing endorsement of how wonderful the possum is, I don't know what is. On the back of this monument, I'm guessing these are people that made this monument possible. The marker also has this nice picture of a passel in a tree, P-A-S-S-E-L, which is what you call a group of possums. Possums are excellent climbers because of their special tail and feet that grip a vertical surface very well.
The next morning.
Last night we drove from Wausau all the way to Gainesville. On the way we had dinner at a Whataburger in Tallahassee, and the cashier spoke in monotone and was wearing sunglasses inside. An obvious stoner. The burger was good though. Anyway, my first stop is just a couple of miles from the Gainesville Hotel at the rest area. This rest area has a neat lookout of Paynes Prairie State Park. Venomous snakes. Lots of these yellow signs along the parking lot, so they must have a lot of venomous snakes here, probably because Paynes Prairie is very swampy. But at this rest area, there's an overlook that looks like a snake. Zooming in for a closer look, this overlook looks like a snake, and there's a head with two eyes, and the overlook ends at a point. And the overlook has a great view of Paynes Prairie, which the interstate cuts through. So we're going to take the walkway to that overlook, and I'll be sure to beware of venomous snakes. Take a quick look at this map. That was a long drive across the panhandle last night. We're in Gainesville now, and we're about 2 hours or so to the Tampa Bay area. The overlook is called the Snake Wall. The wall is 325 feet from the tail to nose, and is 13 feet high at the nose. There is also a long forked tongue leading from the nose. Lots of covered seating along the path. And of course, as in most rest areas, nobody is using the seats. Makes you wonder why they build them in the first place. Now making my way up the walkway along the 325-foot snake wall. It's a little on the cloudy side this morning, but it'll clear up later today. You can see from this vantage point one of the eyes of the snake. And look at the railing, it curves over the eyeball. That's kinda neat. At the end of the overlook, that's the interstate, and it cuts through the Paynes Prairie Preserve, which is mainly swampland. Back in 2017, when Hurricane Irma came through, all the swampland was flooded for several months. There's the forked tongue of the snake. That's a nice feature to this unique overlook. Even at just 13 feet tall, that overlook showed a lot of the swampland. Now heading back down toward the restrooms, then I'll be making my way to the Tampa Bay area. Heading south on Interstate 75. Traffic is pretty light right now. It's only about 8:30 a.m. Also, as promised in the weather forecast, the clouds are breaking and there's some peaks of blue sky to the left of the screen. I'm looking forward to a great day. I'm a little surprised at this. I'm filling up the gas tank and the price is $3.49 a gallon. I'm where I-75 meets the turnpike, so that could be why it's a little high here. Now getting back onto the highway, and usually at this point I get on the turnpike and head toward Walt Disney World, but today I'm continuing on Interstate 75 toward Tampa. I think I'm about an hour away from my first stop. And that stop was at Blackburn Plaza at East 124th Avenue and North Florida Avenue. In this parking lot is what's commonly called the Sphinx of Tampa. The sculpture has been at the shopping center for about 30 years and is considered a minor local landmark. It's surrounded by a fence to prevent vandalism. The Sphinx looks fine from this side, however, I take a look from the other side, not so much. Looks like his head is falling apart, and someone is trying that foam sealant to keep the head from getting worse. Yeah, it sure does look pretty bad. On second thought, maybe that orange stuff is the innards of the statue, and maybe the gray stuff is a concrete or stucco type thing. I don't know. The Sphinx used to be in a mini golf place before it moved here in the 1990s. It used to be painted gold, but now it's a kind of gray color. It does look like it was recently painted though. But yeah, this is the Sphinx of Tampa. Come see it before it gets in worse shape. Continuing southward on Florida Avenue toward downtown, you can see my next stop. It's that tower on the left side of the screen. Kinda looks like a tall castle. This is one of the places featured on the Tampa postcard mural. This is the Sulphur Springs Water Tower. It was built over a boiling spring in 1927. The tower is 214 feet tall and previously had an observation deck. Zooming in at the top, you can see the deck would have been below the top 2 stories of the windows. It would be cool to open that back up, but I think the tower is not able to be repaired to allow people up there anymore. Do not send in the drones. They are not allowed anywhere near this park. Back in 2002, the tower and 13 acres of green space plus a small lake were turned into a park. I mentioned this tower was built over a boiling spring. Problem is, the water pressure from the spring burst all the pipes, so the water tower never worked. You can definitely see 2 stories of windows, no glass in the windows though. That's really cool. It's a shame they can't fix it up. I bet the views are fantastic from up top. Anyway, let's head a little further south to the next stop. Now I'm at Rustic Steel Creations, a business where metal artisans and would-be welders create these interesting scrap metal structures as part of their classwork. Some of these sculptures are sold as well, so what you see here is not what you might see a year from now. Look at this Tampa Bay Lightning hockey player sculpture. They have some great metal creations here. What do you think this thing is? I'm taking a walk along the property. I want to film as many of these metal creations as I can. Look at this. Looks like a welder wearing a robe and standing on a platform. This is so cool. Look at this. A metal person pushing a wheel made of metal barrels. Thank goodness for the fan. It'll keep the metal person nice and cool while pushing the wheel. This one looks amazing. Kinda looks like a small transformer. And here's another creation. A crazy guy holding a towing truck over his head. You gotta visit this place if you like metal sculptures. These welders did such a great job with every single sculpture that is on the property. I'm still trying to get every sculpture before I head on out. Look at this knight in shining armor. There's another small sculpture at the front door. It doesn't look like the building is open today. That looks like a mosquito. And I think the Florida mosquitoes are about that size, so great job to the welder for creating this true to scale. The sculptures do change as new class assignments are completed, so if you visit, they will have new creations for you to enjoy. Alright, time to continue south on my journey and cross some long bridges. In front of me is downtown Tampa, but I'm taking Interstate 275 south towards St. Pete to see some more interesting things. This always cracks me up when I see this yellow sign up ahead. There will be a bridge that's about 5 miles long. I've been on long bridges, but only here I see a sign asking you to check your gas. Alright, maybe I should go ahead and check. Okay. Looks like I have about 3/8 of a tank. I think I can make it across just fine. This is the Howard Franklin Bridge. It goes between Tampa and St. Pete. Currently there are 2 bridges with 4 lanes apiece. But look at the right-hand side. They're building a brand new bridge with 8 lanes, and 4 of those lanes will be tolled lanes. Then they'll tear down the bridge to the left of the bridge I'm on now because that bridge is 70 years old. Lots and lots of road construction in the Tampa Bay metro area. Florida is growing so fast now. In fact, I think Florida had the fastest rate of population growth, which is amazing since Florida has over 22 million people. Florida is growing just about everywhere. Tampa Bay is growing, Orlando is growing, Jacksonville also, the panhandle too. South Florida is growing vertically because there's no more space. It's just incredible. Anyway, I'm now taking this exit to head towards St. Pete. St. Pete is a very pretty city. I haven't been here since I was in preschool. Now I'm in downtown, at the corner of 4th Avenue and 1st Street, across the street from Duke Energy Center. I thought there was only one of these in St. Augustine, but it appears St. Pete has its own fountain of youth. Not sure if Ponce de Leon has seen this one. This is actually an homage to the original fountain of youth that was constructed at the St. Petersburg Pier in 1901, which pulled in smelly, sulfurous well water, and people drank the water all the time. What's here now is a glorified water fountain.
It doesn't really smell like anything. It's on my hand though.
This water is from the city water lines, so no sulfur water here. I won't be drinking any though. The old fountain's water also had high levels of lithium, which is a mood relaxer. Maybe that's why the old fountain was so popular? The original Fountain of Youth has some statues of Ponce de Leon surrounding that fountain. I wonder why they didn't move those statues over here. About to continue south on I-275. To the right is Tropicana Field, where the baseball team Tampa Bay Rays play. It has the smallest capacity of any Major League Baseball team. Getting close to the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. There are 2 rest areas, one to the north of the bridge, where I am about to visit, and another one south of the bridge. Each rest area has something to see. This marker noted the original 2-lane span started construction in 1950 and completed in 1954. At the time, it was one of the longest continuous bridges on Earth. The second span opened in 1971. The restrooms and vending machines are in that edifice. Look at this large boat anchor that I'm walking toward. This is from the U.S. GCG Blackthorn, which collided with another ship, the SS Capricorn, very near the Sunshine Skyway Bridge on January 28, 1980. 23 people on the Blackthorn lost their lives. After the ships collided, the Blackthorn capsized after the anchor of the much larger Capricorn breached and then ripped open the Blackthorn's hull. Over here is a large marker noting all the personnel that lost their lives on the Blackthorn. Mourn not for him, he sails with one more divine. The metal placard below notes that the collision occurred 2 miles south of here. Just 3.5 months later, another collision occurred, this time collapsing one of the bridge spans. On May 9, 1980, the freighter Some Adventure struck the southbound bridge during a storm. 6 cars and a bus fell 150 feet into the bay, killing 35 people. The marker notes the 35 people that were killed. Take a look at this picture from that day. You can see the freighter collided with a support column, and the bridge span is gone. But take a look at the car. How close was this car from the edge? The car was just 14 inches from the end. With 2 collisions in a 4-month span in 1980, many thought the old bridge was haunted or cursed. People became too scared to drive on the other span, fearing another tragedy. Now I'm in the building with the restrooms. Looking at this map, you can see how long the Sunshine Skyway Bridge is. Alright, let's take a drive on. This new bridge started construction in 1982, just 2 years after the bridge collision, and was completed in 1987. The Florida governor at the time, Bob Graham, wanted a signature bridge over lower Tampa Bay. This bridge is a suspension bridge with just one set of cables in the median. There are 4 lanes on this bridge. It tops out at 180 feet above sea level and has safeguards to prevent ship collisions. They are painting the cables bright yellow and doing some other work to repair some corrosion on the bridge. Also note the fencing on both sides of the bridge. You might know why the fencing is there. Now making our descent, all you can see is the water and the bridge down there. There is also decorative LED lighting along and under the bridge, and I think some of the light patterns are animated. Some of the old bridges have been repurposed as fishing piers. It looks kind of busy. I see a good number of vehicles parked on that old bridge. Now I'm going to the southern rest area. I think this rest area may have a good view of the bridge we just drove on. Otherwise, I think this rest area is identical to the north side's rest area. Once again, a rest area with a bunch of unused picnic tables. The design screams 1950s. This marker mentions the new Sunshine Skyway Bridge earned a civil engineering award in 1988. The bridge has earned dozens of awards since opening to traffic. Unfortunately, some of the light sea fog is obscuring the view of the bridge. It's very hard to see. It's in the middle lower part of the screen. From this vantage point, I can barely see the bridge. I bet on a hot, clear day, the bridge can be seen pretty well. Today is a little chilly, in the upper 60s, pretty close to the water temperature. I zoomed in on the bridge from a different vantage point. This is pretty much the best I can do. You can see it's just foggy enough where you can barely see the bridge. Interstate 275 ends at this interchange up here. I'm heading back north toward Tampa, then on to Orlando for the evening. But I've now reached a traveling milestone in the state of Florida. I've now traveled every mile of interstate highway in the state of Florida. Florida's a very big state with lots of spur and loop highways, and it took years to finally reach this milestone. And that's it. Lots and lots of driving yesterday evening and then this morning and afternoon, but I saw a lot also. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have many more roadside attraction videos on the way. But for now, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!